2,500 years ago, one single legendary city ruled the known world so completely that its very name always struck fear and awe. Babylon was not merely a city beside a river, it was the beating, breathing heart of the single most powerful empire found on all of the earth. Behind its towering walls lived priests, farmers, enslaved laborers, brilliant scholars, soldiers, and a king who ruled like a living god. Today, you will follow ordinary Babylonians through one extraordinary day, from the very first pale morning light until the last dying torch. You will witness how they woke at dawn, worked hard, prayed quietly, ate together, learned letters, and finally rested in this golden city. Long before sunrise, the wide Euphrates River already glimmers faintly, its dark surface reflecting torchlight along ancient mudbrick quays. Babylon sits at the very center of Mesopotamia, cradled gently between two great rivers that first gave birth to human civilization itself. Its outer walls rise so impossibly high that ancient legend claims 4 chariots could race abreast along the top, ringing the entire city. Beyond those mighty walls stretch endless canals, swaying palm groves and rich dark farmland, silently feeding nearly 250,000 souls. As dawn finally breaks over the horizon, the legendary Ishtar Gate glows softly with glazed blue bricks, crawling with golden lions and dragons. This gate is not simply an entrance, it is a message written boldly in brick and gold, proclaiming Babylon's staggering wealth to every visitor. Inside a modest mudbrick home near the Processional Way, a tired family stirs awake to the warm smell of fresh barley bread rising in the oven. A weary mother grinds coarse barley into flour, while her children rush to fetch cool water from the canal before the harsh desert heat rises. Most Babylonian houses remain humble and cramped, built tightly around a small shaded courtyard that keeps out the merciless midday desert sun. The father, a scribe's lowly assistant, pulls on a plain woolen tunic, preparing for another long day recording grain shipments and old debts. Children from wealthier families march off each morning to the edubba, a strict scribal school where discipline is harsh and always constant. Students press tiny, wedge-shaped marks into soft, wet clay tablets, slowly mastering cuneiform through endless repetition and quiet memory. Mastering this brutal writing system can lift a poor boy straight out of the dusty streets and into powerful, deeply respected royal service. Girls rarely attend any formal school here, but many quietly learn weaving, trade, and household management from their own watchful mothers. Religion is never truly separate from daily life in Babylon. It is woven deeply into every meal eaten, every marriage sealed, every deal struck. Towering above the entire skyline stands the great ziggurat, a massive step tower that priests believe physically touches the far heavens. Priests silently climb its steep terraces before dawn, convinced that the gods themselves quietly descend each night to walk among mortals. Marduk, the fierce patron god of Babylon, is honored every single day with burning incense, careful offerings, and whispered morning prayers. Ordinary citizens rarely enter the temple's inner sanctuaries, yet they still feel its enormous shadow pressing over nearly everything they do. By mid-morning, the sprawling marketplace along the riverbank erupts into noise, brilliant color, and the rich smell of freshly roasting meat. Merchants loudly haggle over sweet dates, raw wool, exotic spices, and beer, while donkeys strain beneath heavy baskets of grain and copper. Beer is often considered far safer than plain water here, and nearly everyone drinks it daily, even young children given a diluted portion. Artisans hammer glowing bronze, weave fine linen threads, and carefully carve tiny cylinder seals that stamp identity onto clay and warm wax. A single carved seal can prove ownership of land, seal a binding contract, or guarantee a debt owed across the entire sprawling ancient empire. Babylonian law is famously strict and unforgiving, carved permanently into black stone for every single citizen to see near the royal palace. Hammurabi's ancient code still echoes loudly through the courts, promising harsh, swift justice for both the powerful and the desperately poor. Yet justice here is never truly equal, since a noble's crime is often punished far more lightly than the very same act by an enslaved person. Slavery remains common throughout Babylon, though enslaved people can still own property, marry freely, and sometimes purchase their freedom. Above them stand free citizens, then wealthy landowners, then powerful priests, and finally the king himself, seated far above all others. The king lives inside a palace of staggering, almost unbelievable scale, its shaded royal rooms cooled by the legendary hanging gardens above. Terraces bursting with exotic trees and colorful flowers rise level upon level, secretly watered by hidden channels, quietly lifting river water. Some ancient storytellers claim the gardens were built purely to comfort a homesick queen who deeply missed her distant green mountain home. As the punishing afternoon heat presses down hard, tired workers retreat indoors, and the entire city slows into a quiet rhythm of rest and shade. Bathing quietly in cool canal water, sharing gossip, and trading small news becomes the gentle pulse of Babylon's drowsy golden afternoon hours. Craftsmen quietly resume their work as the sun softens, finishing pottery, delicate textiles, and iron tools before the daylight finally fades. Soldiers patrol the massive walls in careful shifts, constantly watching for threats from rival powers circling Babylon's distant borders. Despite its overwhelming power, Babylon lives with constant anxiety, surrounded by hungry rival empires that covet its endless wealth and grain. As evening finally falls, families gather closely for the main meal, sharing warm bread, sweet dates, onions, and freshly roasted river fish. Music drifts softly through the narrow winding streets, lyres and drums accompanying storytellers who recite ancient myths passed down for ages. Wide-eyed children listen closely to ancient tales of gods, catastrophic floods, and legendary heroes far older than memory itself can reach. Some of these very stories will echo across centuries, quietly shaping myths and legends still whispered across the entire modern world today. Under a clear desert sky, priests carefully observe the stars, tracking planets with a stunning precision that will shape astronomy forever. Babylon's deep obsession with the heavens quietly gives birth to the zodiac, complex mathematics, and the very first known human calendars. As torches finally dim and the great city drifts slowly toward sleep, Babylon quietly prepares for another dawn, another endless cycle of power. This single, ordinary yet extraordinary day reveals a civilization far more advanced, complex, and human than most history books ever admit. If this journey into ancient Babylon captivated your imagination, take a moment to like this video and subscribe for more forgotten history. Babylon eventually fell, and its mighty walls crumbled into dust, yet its laws, its stars, and its ideas still quietly shape our world today.